All right, let's talk about the last Chiefs rookie signing their contract, one of Fonzie's heroes being a Chiefs player, and then let's look at some recent OTA notes and have a chat about the best offensive player of the day, which was a receiver that a lot of you have very high hopes for. But first, how about those?
Addie Reed, Eric Lonnie, D. Magnolia. How about the Chiefs?
What the heck is up, guys? My name is Cole, and I do daily news about the Chiefs and the NFL overall, so I'm going to need you to sub if you're new, hit that like button if Patrick Mahomes is Derek Carr's biological father, and let's get into this news, starting with some player news that happened via socials over the weekend. Cornell Powell, our wide receiver, recently got into his car and went to see the new Top Gun movie, and for those of you wondering if it's any good, he gives it a 10 out of 10 rating for what that is worth. And then Brittany and Patrick Mahomes were busy yesterday. They took their little girl to this undisclosed location to feed Tom Brady. Then they were off to a KC Current game and then went to the new Whataburger in one of the locations on the Kansas side. And yeah, of course the line is very long because people like to wait in line for an hour for a burger that is no better than Sonic. Anyway, tight end Noah Gray went all in yesterday and put his entire pickleball career on the line.
If I lose to Scott and Fiash right now, I will retire and never play pickleball ever again. That's video proof right there. Let's go.
How does it feel to not have to retire from pickleball?
I'm still in this for the long haul. When I make a bet, I just come up with it. You know what I mean?
Ooh, that was a close call for tight end Noah Gray. Cornerback Lonnie Johnson had a youth football camp over the weekend in Gary, Indiana. They literally named a town after the snail and SpongeBob. What is wrong with these people? And this was at West Side Leadership Academy, West Side, which I believe is where Lonnie himself went to high school, but you could see a good friend of his as well, a familiar face to all of us, safety Justin Reed, out there with him, working with the kids, and looks like they all had a grand old time. And then there's something seriously wrong with fullback Michael Burton's face mask.
Bert, why you ain't gonna wear the face mask, dog? Bert, what's wrong with your face mask?
So I don't know what's going on there, but he needs to get that fixed. And y'all also need to be aware that Skyy Moore has officially signed his rookie deal. And while numbers haven't yet been revealed, Spotrac, whatever the freaking thing is called, projects that he'll be receiving a contract worth just over $6.45 million in total value, with a $1.87 million signing bonus and a $1.17 million salary cap hit for the 2022 NFL season. Those projections are based on Moore's draft slot, but the guaranteed money could shake out a little differently, with Skyy signing on the dotted line. This means, y'all, that all 10 rookies have officially signed their contracts. So let's freaking go. Dude, I chugged a cold brew right before this, and sorry, I'm buzzing right now. And now that the entire rookie class is taken care of, Brett Veach and his staff can turn their undivided attention to Orlando Brown Jr. and his rookie agent and get this freaking deal taken care of. And once that deal is taken care of, it could help facilitate other moves to improve the team in the interim and the long term. So chop chop, let's make it happen.
Come on now. Chop, chop.
All right, so actor Henry Winkler, aka Fonzie from Happy Days, Coach Klein from The Waterboy, so on and so forth. He was recently on the Rich Eisen show, I believe, to talk about a new season of the TV show that he's in called Barry, but he wasn't so interested in talking about his show at first. In fact, he pivoted quickly to ask Rich Eisen a very important question.
It's kind of difficult to describe to people who are unfamiliar with it, as you might have been.
Patrick Mahomes?
I have.
Have you?
Yes, I have met Patrick Mahomes.
He's one of my heroes.
Oh, is that right?
That's true.
Oh.
Okay.
I root for that team, even though I've never lived there.
Yes.
I think he is just phenomenal to watch.
Apropos of
nothing. But
I was going to talk about the season finale of Barry, and
yes,
you were talking about the season finale of two
and I was
Super Bowls
hoping
ago.
Patrick was in it.
So there you go. Mahomes is one of Fonzie's heroes. Who would have thought? And that is awesome. From here, I want to take a look at some notes from day 9 of Chiefs OTAs. And these are notes from Arrowhead, Pride's Pete Sweeney. And I want to process through them with you guys a bit. Media is pretty limited during OTAs, so right now we basically have to rely on observations from the few media looks that have been allowed. And here we go. Mahomes was back in the saddle again at Thursday's practice, and then tight end Jody Fortson, wide receiver Skyy Moore, and cornerback L'Jarius Sneed all have appeared to make great progress with their little injuries. Fortson, who didn't really have a little injury compared to Skyy Moore's hamstring and L'Jarius Sneed's little knee tweak, but Fortson is looking good, and Sweeney notes that he looked explosive at times. So I like that word. And Skyy Moore no longer appeared to be favoring anything, though he is sporting a cute little compression sleeve on his left leg. At one point, Sneed fell to the ground and popped right back up like, what, y'all didn't see nothing? Sweeney then said, it's always cool to see Chiefs defensive coordinator Steve Spagnuolo having fun running basic drills, like tossing the team's top free agent safety Justin Reed tennis balls to work on over-the-shoulder interceptions. It paid off late in practice as Reed had a tip drill interception off of Mahomes in teams. And we talked about this in a recent video already, but Sweeney notes that the most comfortable receiver out there as far as connection with Mahomes is clearly MVS. He says the new QB wide receiver duo is so in sync. MVS is as smooth a receiver as I remember. The two combined for Thursday's play of the day. In teams, Mahomes looked to his right, then threw a no-look pass to his left across his body to MVS, who caught the ball with a single left hand. Yeah, left hand. This is the left. Left hand along the left sideline, which you love to read about, I guess, but I would have really loved to see a freaking video of it. Anyway, whatever. MVS later joked that he's used to catching no looks from Rodgers, and now he's seeing that here. They catch you by surprise, but you always have to be on your tippies. Always have to be ready. And here's a cool moment regarding MVS when Sweeney caught him chatting with Mahomes and QB coach Matt Nagy extensively after a missed pass. He told Pete he wants to see how Mahomes and Nagy see it and think how they think. It's super important, says Valdez Scantling. In addition to MVS, Mahomes found both tight end Travis Kelce and wide receiver JuJu Smith-Schuster in space at various times throughout the workout. And speaking of JuJu, this man said TikToks would be a no-go, but I saw him in his Chiefs uniform doing this. I'm not even going to show you all the rest. All I want to say is, what the heck was that? Let's move on, though. This is on Pete Sweeney noting that Mahomes connected with MVS, then Kelce, then JuJu Smith-Schuster in space at various times throughout the workout. And this sentence is also worth paying attention to, as Sweeney says, I think in the past, Mahomes had two go-to guys to win games. Beginning stages here, but he may have way more than that come September. So yes, we all know it used to be Kelce and Hill, or Hill and Kelce, but alas, not anymore. All right, from here, Sweeney makes mention of another receiver not named Justin Ross and not any of the other four you'd think of off the top, which would be MVS, JuJu Smith-Schuster, Skyy Moore, and Mecole Hardman. And he says this, speaking of that energy, and here comes your eye roll, I thought the best offensive player Thursday was wide receiver Josh Gordon. In team, Gordon caught a 50 air yard pass from Mahomes to beat defensive back Jalen Watson for a TD, and then added a goal line TD just a few plays later. Oh, really now? Is that so? Josh Gordon making plays. Takes me back to, 2013 or so when he went for 1,646 yards and, 9 TDs, no big deal. Which was sadly a long time ago, but I tell you what, if he's even a shadow of his former self from that year, he's making the roster and will definitely be getting some active snaps in the games. And I had a poor old chap upset with me in a video recently when I said Josh Gordon, if he continues looking as good as he has, will probably end up making the roster and being around wide receiver 5 or 6, but that's because I don't see him outperforming Mecole Hardman, MVS, JuJu Smith-Schuster, or Skyy Moore. And then we have Justin Ross. We have others. I could be wrong, though. I've been wrong a couple times in life. Just ask my wife. So don't be too mad at me just because I said Josh Gordon may be wide receiver 5 or 6. If the 31-year-old who hasn't had any real snaps since 2018 decides to freaking go off this season, trust me, I'm here for all of that. Have no fear. Anyway, Coach Reed noted that same day that Josh Gordon is running better, catching better, he's working hard at all of this. He's a good kid and he's smart. He literally says everybody's smart, by the way. If you listen to his pressers, he's smart, he's smart, he's smart. Anyway, that's the way he's approached this whole thing, and he's getting reps. So Reed sees that the game of football has slowed down for Gordon since last year. That's worth noting. Let's take a look and tab on Josh Gordon and see how he continues to progress now that he has a full offseason under his belt with the team. From here, Sweeney makes mention of some Shane Beuchele notes. He says also in team, tight end Jordan Franks pulled in a goal line TD from QB Shane Beuchele, who was intercepted by cornerback DiCaprio Bootle in the end zone a few plays later, not days later. That would be wild. Linebacker Jack Cochrane intercepted Beuchele late in practice. Safety Juan Thornhill broke up a Beuchele pass during the workout. He had some redemption later, though, in 7-on-7 work with some nice connections to wide receiver Matthew Sexton and wide receiver / running back hybrid, perhaps, Jarian Ely. I don't know how to say his first name, if I'm going to be honest, but that guy snatched a ball out of the air as he was contested by a defender, and he won the contest. Sweeney also notes that defensive tackle Colin Saunders batted down a pass from QB Chad Henne and probably went nuts like cashews over it. He's a very animated dude, so that would not surprise me one bit. Pete then talks briefly about the defensive player of the day, which was Nick Bolton. He says in 7-on-7s, linebacker Nick Bolton intercepted Mahomes. Justin Reed nearly had it as well. Bolton, though, was the best defensive player on the day, ripping out a pass from the grasp of Omar Bayless later. What a savage. So let's go Nick Bolton. I'm very glad to hear, honestly, he's improving on his pass coverage game, which is only going to make him a better, more rounded player, and he's already a beast, so I'm here for it all. Let's go. During his presser that day, Bolton said, "Pat, I know is making me better every single day. Y'all guys know one of the best QBs in the league, so competing against him every single day, him, Trav, our new receivers, it makes us better." I like that. Lastly, Sweeney notes other general standouts from that practice on Thursday, which were tight end Noah Gray, aka the pickleball champion, cornerback Trent McDuffie, running back Isaiah, I will block my behind off for Patrick Mahomes Pacheco, safety Juan Thornhill, wide receiver Justin Watson, and cornerback Joshua Williams. And to note, this is not the first time that Justin Watson or Joshua Williams have been mentioned in these OTA notes. So again, these are two players, in my opinion, that are worth keeping tabs on. The last thing I want to mention that happened that day, who showed up at practice, was a former Chiefs legend came back home and signed a one-day contract to retire with the Kansas City Chiefs, and that player was cornerback Brandon. Give him his flowers. That was bad. A former second-round draft pick out of Virginia Tech in 2008, Flowers would play 6 incredible years with the Chiefs. During that span, he recorded 373 total tackles with 17 INTs, including 3 for TDs. He was selected for his lone Pro Bowl in 2013, which would be a contract year for Flowers. Go freaking figure. The contract year is literally undefeated, but Kansas City opted to move on in 2014, and Flowers would go on to sign with a division rival in the San Diego Chargers for a few seasons before retiring from the NFL in 2017. And then, for whatever reason, waited 5 years to formally retire as a Chief, but he was a very underrated corner for the Chiefs, possibly one of the most underrated to ever play for the team. Charles the GOAT Goldman from Chiefs Wire notes that during his days with the Chiefs, Flowers was a shutdown corner who had a penchant for making key plays on the defensive side of the ball. The teams that he played on didn't have much group success overall, but he always played a big role when they did. Flowers joins Jamal Charles as the 2 players from the 2008 draft class to sign one-day contracts to retire with the Chiefs. So, let's go, Brandon Flowers. I hope you are enjoying retirement and the time with your family. Family is everything, so let's go. From here, I want to take a look at some of my favorite comments over the last couple of days. My videos have been long and I haven't had a chance to respond to any, but here we go. American 1020 sent over a super thanks to go and try the patty melt from Whatburger, which is his go-to. And I also need to try their chicken sandwich because people have been really talking it up. So I appreciate the super thanks, bro, and I will try it soon. KD is a lifelong Chiefs fan from New Jersey and will be attending the opening game against the Chargers and wants barbecue advice. Well, man, thanks for the kind message, but you got to try Gates. No freaking excuses from there. There's a lot of good ones, and people are going to argue in the comments, but Jack Stack is good, Joe's KC, Big T's is nice, and a lot of people like Q39, even though I think it's all right. But I say try them all. Scott Walls sent over a $5 super thanks, simply saying thanks, and Nicole Reese sent one over as well, saying, Cole, you are the red-bearded beast of Chiefs Kingdom. Thanks for the daily updates and humor. Keep up the great work. How about those Chiefs? Well, thank you, Nicole. The last 4 letters of your first name are really legit, by the way. And there were a ton of comments on the Tyreek Hill video yesterday. I think there was almost more comments than likes on the video, which was pretty wild. Lots of complaints here about me doing another Tyreek video, even though I made a disclaimer within the first 30 seconds of the video saying, there's the door. If you're not happy with this, go ahead and see yourself out before you watch it. But you can't make everybody happy in life now, can you? There were lots of people also who were not happy about the podcast that Tyreek did, which makes sense to me. I feel the episode was not needed, and some things honestly are better left unsaid or to remain behind closed doors. As a professional courtesy, at least, Skinny P R6 says, I feel like Hill was being utilized without being utilized. Just him being there and being able to take the top off the defense allowed the offense to open up more of the underneath stuff, and once the defense started coming up, that's when the Chiefs would hit Hill down the field for a big gain. I think his podcast really showed how he is kind of self-centered because he was opening up opportunities for his teammates. Honestly, I feel this comment was pretty spot on, man. Squidward says, I'm thinking the organization saw this attitude from a mile away and were willing to move towards a more diverse offense, letting go of the baggage Tyreek became for the scheme. Crazy how I talked about Gary earlier in this episode and now Squidward shows up. What are the odds of that? This is quite the throwback to my childhood here. Eric Wahlberg, Mark Wahlberg's cousin, sent over a $10 super thanks saying, mark my words. No, really, get a marker ready. Okay. Tyreek is going to shoot himself in the foot with this podcast as Tua underthrows him or the Finns lose more often than Tyreek likes. He will take those gripes to his show. Coach will not be happy. Yeah, time will certainly tell there. Either way, thanks for the freaking super chat, you legend. And I just don't know about this podcast with Tyreek, but have no fear because I'm not going to be talking about him at least as much as I can help it in future videos. Cindy Tripp sent over a $10 super thanks saying, thanks for all you do, and a cup of cold brew is on me. Well, I appreciate that. I never ever turned down a cold brew. Literally just chugged this entire cup before recording this video, so thank you, Cindy. Lastly, yesterday, I went to Quick Trip up the street from my house to sell one of my automobiles because, you know, I'm ballin' and have so many, I just sell them. Joking, it was just old, needed to get rid of it. Anyway, this man was staring at me in the Quick Trip parking lot as I got out of my car, and I thought there was going to be an issue, if I'm going to be honest. I was like, man, this guy is staring at me and I don't know what to do. He then yells, dude, I love your YouTube channel, man. You make great content. He then came over and gave me a fist bump and told the Quick Trip employee he needed to check out my channel. It was hilarious and I loved every second of it because the guy was so passionate about this channel. So that got me all amped up on Mountain Dew. If you see this, bro, it was great meeting you. Make sure to leave a comment down below to potentially be featured in an upcoming video. Sub for more daily news like this and check out this video, which is a recent video titled NFL Bad Teammate Moments. And honestly, it was hilarious. So definitely check that out. And until next time, let's go. Let's go. How about those?